Hello, Rachel. Hi, Jonathan. How are you two doing today?
Great.
Good.
You are already speaking in perfect unison. This is fantastic. Well, we're so happy and excited to have you back on gallery concerts at the end of January. But both of you have had a couple of life-changing events since the last time you were playing on gallery concerts. Jonathan, what has happened to you since you last played on March 1st, 2020?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the last time I played was, I think, the maybe the last in-person concert I did before the pandemic. Probably the last that many of us did before the pandemic. And afterwards we went out and we were kind of speculating about what was going to happen, and were people actually right to go and do a run on goods at Costco. And then two weeks later everything was as you know. Yeah, so that was the last time I played, and then I did a little online thing for you all during the pandemic. Which was a lot of fun, Mozart and Beethoven. But the main news is that I have a new job. I'm teaching at my alma mater. Very honored to be teaching harpsichord and fortepiano at Indiana University. So sadly, I've left the Seattle area for the time being anyway. But very happy and thrilled to be doing this new job.
As an alumnus of IU, as is Rachel, an alumnus of IU, as is your colleague now, Ingrid Matthews, who played the first concert on this series in November. So there's such a strong Bloomington connection to gallery concerts. It's kind of a lot of fun. And how about you,
Yeah.
Rachel? Last time you played on gallery concerts, you were living in New York City, and I don't think you live there anymore.
I was still going to Juilliard when I played last, and it was a really fun concert. And yeah, I moved from New York back home to Linwood.
Which is where you grew up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And have you enjoyed being back in the Northwest?
Yes, I've loved it. I miss New York a lot, but I've managed to get back and play with you, Nathan, a lot.
Yes, we have
um,
played a few times.
yeah. But yeah, it's been really nice to be home and get to do the things I love, like hiking, and still perform here too.
We're doing a concert of essentially violin sonatas of Mozart. Um, what is it like to play these pieces on stage?
I sort of got into early music partly so that I wouldn't play stuff like Mozart, because at the time I didn't get it. When I was a modern piano student, I didn't really understand it and I didn't find it compelling. And I feel like, having spent time studying harpsichord and playing a lot of Baroque music, really, I come to it with a different set of ears now, and I hear it in relation to what came before, and not maybe in relation to what came after. And I think there's a little bit of a maybe a received idea about Mozart and Haydn, classical music in general, that it's all very balanced and very perfect, and nothing is surprising too much, or everything is very kind of smooth. And what's so interesting about playing it on the earlier instruments and playing it with the perspective of earlier styles is there's so much surprise in this music, and there's so much contrast, and one phrase will be in a completely different style from a preceding phrase, and that's what I really enjoy about it, having come to it from that direction.
In a world now that looks very different than it did the last time you played in gallery concerts, how do you find that performing has changed?
I don't think I took performing for granted, but before the pandemic, but now when I do get to perform for a live audience, it really is so meaningful because I missed it so much. And I I really missed like interacting with the audience and feeling what they're feeling. When you're in the same room, you can really get the vibe off of people, and it really changes how you perform in the moment too. And that's why I love performing so much. So I guess I just really appreciate getting to play for people now more than ever.
the music can have the function of kind of uplifting people or giving people an escape, and it can also have the opposite function of allowing people to experience those more negative emotions. And one of the pieces that we're going to play is the E minor violin sonata from very early in Mozart's career. It's part of his Opus 1. And that is a very interesting piece. I think I read that it's the only piece with a tonic of E minor that he composed. That seems hard to believe, but perhaps that's so. But that is a very, amongst the other 5 pieces of that collection, which are all fairly upbeat major key pieces, it is a really striking piece. And it's also striking in connection to what we were saying about earlier styles, because it uses this very Baroque kind of motive. It has the kind of lament bass, the descending 4 notes, which goes back to Monteverdi and all sorts of things like that. So that's a very, very interesting piece that I'm really looking forward to doing. It has a really unique emotional world, and it also has a really unique kind of stylistic connection to older styles and to more up-to-date styles.
And that's such a popular sonata too for violinists. And I'm just so excited to play it on the earlier instruments too, because you hear it on the modern, and you don't hear the colors and the characters and the emotion that you can really get with the earlier instruments.
Well, we are all really excited to hear you play all of these pieces on gallery concerts on January 29th and January 30th at Queen Anne Christian Church. There are still a handful of tickets available, so go to www.galleryconcerts.org, where you can snatch up some of the final remaining tickets and hear Rachell Ellen Wong and Jonathan Oddie play some of this fantastic music that will both make you feel comforted and uplifted, but also make you think and make you feel. Thank you both so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the 29th and 30th of January. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Nathan.
Bye.